Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is Nile Dusdieker from the Eastern Iowa Orchid Society and jazz fan extraordinaire. If you were listening to the pledge drive a few weeks ago, we had some conversations. Welcome back, Nile.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here. It's always good to support KCCK, and we appreciate KCCK's support for our orchid show.
Well, you are devoted to jazz and to orchids. And quickly, just mention when the show is going to be, and we'll come back to that later. But just because it's the end of the month and Halloween theme again?
That's right. The orchid show is Orchids Are A Scream 2022, and it is October 22nd and 23rd. It's the week before Halloween, and it will be a fun show. It's going to be Halloween themed, so there'll be displays of orchids, but with a little bit of a Halloween theme in them. It's at the Elks Lodge Hall on 33rd Avenue, 10 to 5 on Saturday, 10 to 4 on Sunday, October 22nd and 23rd. It's free. It's handicapped accessible. It's just a lovely place to have a show. We really appreciate the Elks having us.
Nile, you've been raising orchids for a long time. How did you first get into it?
Well, we added on to our house because we had 3 kids and only 2 bedrooms for the 3 kids. So we said, well, we've got to add on. So we added on to one side of the house. And when the contractor was out, it's his fault. When the contractor was out, he said, you know, I can dig you a 3rd garage for very little more than it's costing me to dig the foundation for your addition. And so we did that. Then we had to figure out what to put on top of the 3rd garage. So we thought, well, let's put a sunroom or a greenhouse or something. And I got Lois, my wife, a white Phalaenopsis, I think either for her birthday or Mother's Day, and it's been all downhill since.
and now you probably need to add more greenhouse space.
Well, we have we put all of the orchids out in the summer in a pergola, or most of them, and you know, it's just like they're living in the tropics. They love it out there. They do get bigger, and so Lois and I have just finished bringing in all orchids back to the greenhouse. And it is always a challenge to get everything in there.
Well, and now you have to bring a bunch of them out for the show.
That's right. Well, we're fortunate that we've got a number of them that are going to perform for us. We do talk to the orchids, and we tell them, you know, guys, it gets cold out here. And you really need to bloom for us, because if you don't, we might leave you out in the pergola all winter long. I did that once with a vanilla plant, and it didn't survive. But that was a mistake, but that's what happened.
So we mentioned that the Orchid Show is coming up October 22nd and 23rd. And obviously you and many other people from around the Midwest will be bringing your orchids to show. What will people see when they come to the show?
Actually, we're really excited this year because we're going to have more orchid societies at the show than we have ever had. We have 2 societies from Illinois. We are going to have both orchid societies from Wisconsin, the Milwaukee Society and the Madison Group Orchid Growers Guild. Minnesota's coming down, and they're bringing a couple, 3 different exhibits, a private, an individual exhibit plus the society. And new for this year, we have Kansas City coming up. So it's going to be really very nice. And basically, when you come into the show, the main room is a series of displays, and some of them are on round tables, some of them are on rectangular tables with a backdrop. The orchid displays are judged, and the idea is that it's an aesthetically pleasing display, and it has variety and good quality plants. And then in the back we have vendors, and they're usually swamped on Saturday morning. But we also have some memorabilia, and we have some crafts and that type of thing. And we do have a craft vendor this year as well.
And as you said, admission is free.
It is.
And will there be orchids for sale? I mean,
yes,
can we buy orchids?
The vendors are going to sell. There'll be all kinds of orchids for sale. And the thing that's nice about the vendors that we have at the show, they come out of the Chicago area, and they will bring common orchids like the Phalaenopsis, but they'll also bring unusual orchids, slipper orchids, and various other terrestrial type of things, amongst others.
Talking with Nile Dusdieker from the Eastern Iowa Orchid Society about Orchids Are A Scream 2022. And you mentioned a Halloween theme because some orchids are also kind of spooky and coloration. That's the perfect flower to link with Halloween.
Oh, it is. And actually there's a genus of orchids, a type of orchid called Draculas. I don't know whether we'll have any. They're from the high Andes in South America. Sometimes somebody will bring a Dracula in bloom. Little tiny orchids.
Oh, interesting. All right, so I have I don't have any luck with raising plants or flowers. They die days after coming into my house. But I really want to try an orchid. What's the most resilient one that will be hardest for me to kill?
Well, I think the starter orchid for most people is a Phalaenopsis, and I say that because they're readily available. You can find them at big box stores, discount stores. Lots of times, if you can get there when they just got the shipment in, they're in pretty good shape. They frequently have some plastic over the flowers, and so the flowers get damaged. But those orchids will stay in bloom for literally months if they don't get too hot, and if you don't overwater them. And I might add that you don't use 3 ice cubes. You can
yes, that's a myth. That putting
is,
ice cubes in the soil is the best way to water.
The idea is not to overwater, and that's why they promote it that way. But melt the ice cubes before you put it on the plant.
Liquid water is best.
That's right.
Is best for the plant. Well, it's Orchids Are A Scream 2022. Really something for the whole family. There's crafts and lots of flowers. And if you'd like to get involved in these beautiful plants, this is the perfect time to do it.
It is, and there are people to answer questions. So come to the Elks Lodge Hall on 33rd Avenue, October 22nd and 23rd of this year. Opens at 10 o'clock each day. Orchids Are A Scream.
And if you want to find out more about the Orchid Society, your programs and stuff, you do other things throughout the year as well. You have a website online, right? How do people find it?
We do, and it's kind of a long name, but it's all one word, Eastern Iowa Orchid Society.org.
Nile Dusdieker from the Eastern Iowa Orchid Society. Again, Orchids Are A Scream 2022, October 22nd and 23rd. Nile, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio many weekdays at 10:30, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture or using your favorite podcast app. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.